Alright guys, welcome back to the Taj Mahal. Saturday, January 13th, just after 12 noon. And why are you here? Shouldn't you be working on your GT6?
I've heard there's going to be steak sandwiches and beer and onion soup for lunch, so I can't miss that.
Huh. Wait till he finds out it's hot dogs, craft dinner, and juice boxes. Alright, so we're back on this this corner of the A-post and bulkhead. And before I started, I just wanted to give a couple of shout outs to a couple of viewers of mine. One named Stuart, who's from the who's a participant on the TR register in the UK, and one named Sean, who's a watcher and a commenter on my video. Sean has sent me a file of about 40 photos of the repair, the similar repair of this area that he's done on his TR6, which is very similar to what this car looks like. So the good thing is that Sean has sent me photos. He had mentioned in my video about, let me just remove this patch here. So I found this piece of metal and I wasn't quite sure where it went. So it turns out that this piece of metal here actually is a flange that runs up here along the top of this post, and actually is attached to this bottom piece, and it actually wraps around the inner piece as well to create a flange for this piece. So Sean sent me some great photos showing that, so we'll have to include that flange now on this bottom piece as well as the actual flange on the scuttle drain piece as well. Oh, almost lost it there. Anyway, we'll come back and show you that. So I've just reconstructed what we're trying to accomplish today. I've just basically used some welding magnets to put that patch back in there. I was trying to see how much clearance we needed on the side here. As mentioned before, I thought we had an inch or two to the side of that A-post, and that looks like what it's going to be. So anyway, we'll factor that in, and again, this piece here is going to have a flange that moves to the front and then wraps around the side. So we'll have to create that today as well. Okay, so we're going to do a two-part attack to this patch. So I'm going to do the easy part. I am just going to basically make an L-shaped flange that goes about a ½ inch around the edge of this, just a flat sort of L shape. And I'm also going to extend the bottom of this piece here to have a wraparound flange. Elin is going to work on actually figuring out a way to make the pocket, and we're going to obviously make those flanges meet up somehow. So he's got the hard job, and we'll see how he does with my primitive tools.
Yeah, I broke my tools anyway.
He brought the shrinker stretcher. I'm not sure whether that's going to help us or not, but anyway, we'll see what we can do. We'll try to take some video along the way.
But I'm saving the riveted patch so we can put it back there.
Alright, get ready for the riveted patch to go back in when we can't figure it out. Okay, so here's what I've done in the last hour. See, I put this flange on here. Look what he's done in the last hour. So he's making that pocket for the back for the drain scuttle. So it's going to look something like that. I moved this panel up so we could mark it. He's going to have to trim it. So obviously this fits like this with the wraparound flange. That's going to drop down inside of this flange, and then we're working on another cap piece which we're going to have to work on extending now, but it was going to go something like this as well to cap that out, actually like this, something like that to cap it, but we'll have to extend that out now. We'll figure it out. We're getting there. So here's your update. We'll keep going. Alright, we're making progress. So what I'm going to do now is, if you recall, this rear flange, I've not welded it, I've only tacked it in place. So I'm going to weld that rear flange in there solid now, so we can move on to the next part. So I'm going to do that now, and we'll come back in a minute.
Oh, is that David?
Yes, it is.
Hi David, how are you?
What are you making?
I'm making a vent.
Oh, they look like Mickey Mouse. Yeah. All right, so he's made a buck I guess you call this a buck, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to go here, and it's going to try to shape that. Is it? Oh, sorry, like this. Yeah. It's a good thing I'm not doing it. So he's going to shape a fender vent, or try to shape a fender. What are we going to call this? A tube, right? Fender tube that's going to have a flange on the inside, and it's going to come out and then obviously meet with the inside of the inner of the fender, and then we're going to have to flange the fender coming in to meet this tube. So I think he's going to try to practice and see what he can come up with. So he's got a little bit of metal here to work with. So he's going to try to turn that into at least one vent.
Yep.
And just a quick update over here. So we've welded this bottom flange solid now. You can see that. And we're in the process of welding this little flange piece, the stepped flange piece. We're in the process of plug welding that to that flange we just welded in. So we're going to do that all the way along and grind that down as best we can, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, we've got the bottom flange welded in solid now. I haven't spot welded it on the edge, but it's welded all the way solid across the bottom to the inside flange, and welded here as well. You can notice we've taken off this this top patch, was kind of getting in the way, so we've just removed it temporarily. Anyway, we're going to fit up that pocket and see how we do. Look who showed up. You haven't seen this guy for a while in this video. He doesn't want to look at me now. Come on, Les, you're famous.
Well, I'm not famous.
So Les came in to supervise, just to make sure we're doing everything properly. How we doing?
You're doing good, boys.
How's the Capri going?
It's going slow. My hip's killing me.
So when are we gonna have an update? When are we gonna have an update on the Capri?
Probably in the next week.
Okay. So waiting with bated breath on the Capri update.
Well,
All right, Ellen's got the drain scuttle piece looking good. We've got the pipe in for the drain hole, and you might notice that we've got a little bit of a patch in here. This was the factory position for the drain hole, and we've decided to move it down a little bit because the factory hole actually is a little bit elevated, and I'm sure that's contributed to that scuttle piece rusting out over the year. So we just moved it down into the flat part, so that should drain a little better. All right, here's how the new drain pocket is looking in the back. So we're just about to tack it in, and we have to do some little fill-in areas, but I think it looks pretty good so far. So we'll weld where we can, and like I said, we'll have to make that top patch at the next step. Okay, so we've got the pocket pretty much welded in. I've got it only plug welded at one spot on the rear. Elin is making this patch here in the corner, this little triangular patch that goes up to the top. And I'm going to start welding this floor section and this flange plug welds up. And this little mark here I made from a grinder, we're going to weld that up. So we'll get that cleaned up so I can be doing something while he's making that patch. So I'll break out the welder again. All right, quick update for you. It's just 4:30 and we're still making progress, slowly but surely. So we've got this floor panel, or top bulkhead panel, welded up, and obviously plug welded on this flange, the new flange we created. We've plug welded this little bottom closing piece around the corner as we were supposed to. And now we've got another closing piece to go in here. Something like, my big welding gloves on, something like that. You get the idea. My finger's in the way, but that'll weld to that panel to go all the way to the top, so we'll make that look good. So yeah, Ellen's making really good progress on these vents for the fenders. So check this out.
Doesn't look good, right?
No, it looks,
Check this out.
it
Nice.
looks awesome. He's done that all with the shrinker stretcher. The only bad part is this really tight radius here on this corner. Probably have to do a little bit of a relief cut, but it looks, I think it looks fantastic.
Well, we got stretched way too much.
Yeah. But we can always weld that back up. I think it looks awesome. Anyway, we'll come back. So we made it back from our late lunch. We're moving a little bit slower, but we're still moving. So we've got this little patch piece in here and welded on the side now, so that's looking good. We'll just get that ground down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move to the inside of the car. We're probably going to square this little area off a little bit at the top, and we're just going to put a patch in there, and then that should be getting pretty close to being finished. So anyway, so yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I think this thing looks absolutely awesome. Don't you? Ellen's not so crazy about it, but I think it's fantastic. I keep telling him it's fantastic. So he did that basically all on the shrinker and some hammering too, but mostly on the shrinker.
The stretcher.
All stretcher, all one piece basically. So how's this going to go in here again?
It's gonna go inside,
yeah.
But it's gonna end up here.
There you go. So that's what that vent's going to look like. Obviously, it's going to have a Herald grill in here. I've got a Herald grill that I'm going to be using. That's apparently what they used on the Works rally cars. So we'll have to figure a way out to set the grill in there, and I think it's pop riveted in. Then the fender is flanged to either go. We haven't decided whether we're going to do a flange on the outside or inside of the fender yet, but we'll figure that out. So that looks freaking awesome.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
On to the next one. Okay, on the home stretch. Last patch to cover that drain plenum in. So we've just got it tacked in there, so we'll weld it up fully and grind it down, and we'll come back. Okay, flange, fender duct making 101.
101.
Yeah, introductory course, right?
Yeah.
They look pretty good.
Pretty much. See the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Put the camera inside. The cut doesn't much.
Well, I think they look absolutely amazing, so yeah. They look beautiful.
Right?
Excellent job.
Okay. They're for sale. 800 bucks.
$800. They can be yours. Yeah, they look fantastic. All right. Beautiful. Good job.
Thank you.